Welcome to this edition of Jawaab TV. I'm your host Zain Hederawan. Today, with my panel of experts, we're in Birmingham discussing the important issue of terrorism.
I lived through the IRA bombing campaigns where we were under real threat. Birmingham was bombed, we had people killed there, maimed. We were searched in and out of every public building. I was in Atlanta when the first time the Twin Towers were bombed, and American security guards and police were apologising for having to search me on the door. And I just went, don't worry, I'm from Europe, we do this all the time. And he went, have you got terrorists in Europe? And I said, well, we've got the IRA, the Red Brigade, Bader-Meinhof. There's not a city in Europe that hasn't been bombed in the last decade. And one firecracker goes off in New York and America panics, and we seem to have caught that panic here and focused it upon the Muslim and Asian communities.
In any community, in any sect, in any religion, you will have extremists. You will have some people that either misinterpret the religion or use that religion for their own benefits and own gain, whether it's political, whether it's for land, whatever it's for. So there's always going to be extremism. The problem isn't the extremes, they're always going to be there, so you always have far rights and far lefts. It's the masses of people in the middle that start becoming polarised.
That was summed up by George Bush when he said, you're either with us or you're against us. So in that essence, we've been put into a situation where we have to choose what side we're on, which is actually quite sad, because a lot of people are being pushed out, whether it's a guilt trip for, okay, those are Muslim brothers out there, or whether they feel like, okay, no, we live in Britain, so our loyalties lie here, so they're being marginalised.
There's nothing wrong with being okay with both sides, or being happy, or understanding, or looking at it from an open mind perspective. But with what comes with terrorism, there's two parts to it. There's the action, and then there's asking why this action has happened and what's caused this uprising.
I think we all have a responsibility to stand up and not choose, you're either with the left wing or the right wing, but choose to be an individual, choose to learn, choose to know who you are. In every community, in history, if we look at history, it always sparked off with one person, whether it's prophets, whether it's leaders. It took one person to stand up and say, no, this is wrong. And it created such a massive force, a changing force. And I think we don't have enough of that in our community, because we're a crowd, we're a group, and we're just sheep.
I feel I have no more responsibility than the Christian Chinese man, than the Jewish person. I have no more responsibility than them. I pay my taxes to pay.
Do you feel that we as a community are reacting that we have that big responsibility to take on? We have the burden to take.
Why should I carry a burden for just because I was born into a religion?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because people will turn around and say, because your religion, people are using your religion to go forward and justify these acts of terror. That's why.
But that's the perception that they have, and in reality, it's not that extreme. I mean, on a day-to-day basis, and the Muslims that we meet, they're not terrorists at all. The terrorism that does happen, let's not forget that that we're bombing these countries as well. The Britain and America, America's the biggest. They have the most sort of offshore sort of activity going on in all these other countries. And of course,
but surely that's out of defence. This is the response which was given.
Yeah, of course you'll be told it's out of defence in the media. Of course they'll tell you that, But it's up to us as individuals to say, okay, well, why am I being told this message? Because I go to work with Muslims and they don't want to blow me up.